Okay, now who's the best team in football? Could the Vikings actually find it? Are the Jags ready for the next step? And a 35-year-old reference that gets me.
Hey, isn't that Calvin?
I haven't seen him for a while. Wonder where he's heading.
I heard he got a job.
Ooh, Nate's got a job. Timmy's got a job. It's Week 8 Football Nation with Nate Burleson now. So, Nate Burleson, shall we relitigate our best team in the league chat from last week? Or what? Like, Lions smash, the Dolphins don't look great, the Niners are falling back down. Like, am I missing anything here? Like, what is I know it's football. I know it's every given Sunday. What's going on?
It's the parody, and I'm okay with saying I got a little too excited. That's why I try to hold myself and keep myself from just jumping on each and every bandwagon that looks hot. And I resisted really long because when it comes to the Lions, I think people already assume we're going to be biased. I kept saying to you, all right, let's just give it some time. And it wasn't that I don't think they're for real. I just want them to prove that they can continue to be consistent. Now, let's be very clear.
You did. You said I want to see them over the next couple of weeks and what they do. Yes, you did.
Yeah, but let's be clear. When it comes to the Lions, they faced Lamar Jackson, who is reminding everybody that, hey, yo, I once was an MVP. So stop playing with my name, put some respect on it. The one thing that concerns me is the 49ers. Like Brock Purdy, not just with the injuries, we saw some interceptions, which never happened. And then now we're hearing that he might sit down and Sam Darnold is going to play. Like, now I don't know where this season is going to go because they had so much momentum behind a quarterback that was playing lights out. And I hate to think that, oh, this is the end of the Cinderella story, or, this now he understands who he is. Like, I don't like that narrative, but I also can't defend that narrative if he doesn't have a bounce back moment. But that's yet to be seen. We don't know when he's going to be back on the field, how healthy he is, because I heard he's in protocol. I'm really curious about the 49ers more than any other team.
And that's an interesting matchup, right? They're at home, but they get the 3-3 Bengals coming off a bye with, as you mentioned, Brock Purdy and concussion protocol, uncertain Sunday. Like, that could be one of those games that we look back at for both those teams and say that could have been a turning point.
Yeah, it definitely could have been a turning point. And you look at the 49ers and what they have on defense, you would hope that their offense remains consistent because regardless of what happens, we know there is one side of the field that will play lights out, and that's defense. Up until the last couple of weeks, it was the offense as well, which made them that dangerous. On the flip side, the Cincinnati Bengals might be the scariest team because while we were sitting there dogging them the first month of the season, saying Joe Burrow doesn't look that good, and people were questioning whether he should have got paid, and now rested after coming off of a win, and Joe Burrow still clearly saying we haven't played our best football, this could be a huge statement. Just imagine if they go out there and light up this 49ers defense, we will have to kind of reconfigure how we look at the NFC and how we're looking at the AFC for sure.
Well, we already talked about, like, Lamar got that MVP chatter going again. They're 5-2. I don't know how the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing with the Pittsburghs. Like, this is a division that is going to be tough, even if they win in San Francisco. And, like, you look at the Steelers, they got another tough matchup this week. Like, that division is going to be tough as nails to come out of.
It's a gauntlet. Before the season, we all look at certain divisions and we get excited about them. I'm not sure how many people were talking about the AFC North, but I mean, we're at the point now where we can look at the AFC North and see that it's extremely competitive. Just only if the Browns had shown consistency throughout the first part of the season, but yet and still, we know that the Browns are always going to be there. One, if they have good quarterback play and Myles Garrett anchoring that defense, they can beat anybody, period. And let's just, for a quick second, talk about Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is it possible for him to be the MVP? I'm not talking about defensive MVP. If they win the playoffs and they become one of the better teams closing out the season, and Myles Garrett continues to have games like that. Let's just say he has 1 or 2 sacks every game. But when he blocks a field goal or gets an interception, strip sack, fumble recovery, forced fumbles, he starts filling up the stat box like we've never seen. This is on some Lawrence Taylor energy. So I just feel like we got to start talking about that at some point. It's a little bit too soon, but at some point. Steelers, you said, I don't know how they're doing it. I don't necessarily know how they're doing it either, because they're doing it in despite of being inconsistent, even in the game, and making mistakes. The one thing I could point to that is for sure one of the reasons is a guy standing on the sideline. Mike Tomlin, once again, proven to be as valuable of a head coach that you have in this league.
I was in Pittsburgh over the weekend, and I couldn't believe how much Mike, and maybe it's just because he's been there so long, but like one of the best fan bases in all of football, the team that has had, what, 3 coaches since Chuck Noll, like that's 1967, I believe,
Right.
like Chuck Noll, like they've had 3 coaches, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. That's it. Like other teams have had 25 in the same time that they've had 3, and the fan base doesn't like Mike Tomlin as much as I like Mike Tomlin. They had no business last year being anywhere close to anything, and yet there they were. And here this year again, like Fire Matt Canada is trending every weekend, and yet they're winning football games. Like, to me, Mike Tomlin is somehow, I know he's only got 1 Super Bowl, but so did Bill Cowher, and he's still beloved.
He's Hall of Famer.
You know him.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. I think we're just keeping it all the way real when it comes to narratives. People think that Mike Tomlin was the beneficiary of a great roster that was handed to him after the post Bill Cowher era. But I can care less about that, because he continued to turn over the roster and still have consistency with his players. I could only wish that I played every year and knew that we would be either 500 or above. That I didn't have that luxury. It seems like every player on the Steelers roster every single season kind of feels like that's the baseline. Like, we're going to be good enough to have playoff hopes, which really is the hopes of every player. I think when you look at how Mike Tomlin coaches versus how this offense has struggled, I do believe they have to address the play calling, because they're just too talented. They have everything. They have the yin and yang in the backfield. They have power and speed. They got a quarterback that got some moxie and can grip it and rip it. Got some wide receivers that can make plays. I just feel like this offense should be much better than it is.
Yeah, I was at Dick's. I'm laughing because I was at Dick's Sporting Goods. I guess I'm giving a free advertisement to Dick's here, and the dude was talking to me about the team because he knew I was from Canada, and he's like, "No offense, but I hate Matt Canada." I was like, 1, that is no offense, and 2, get the damn ball to George Pickens. Like, you have 2 talented running backs in Najee Harris.
So the guy was like, "Yo, no disrespect to Canadians, but I hate Matt Canada."
Yeah, I would hate to see the Micallef city in Malta, because there's a lot of people that hate Micallef. So how about they're playing the Jags, and after a 1-2 start, they've won 4 in a row. Like, do you believe in what's going on in Duval County? Are you ready? Like, I feel like they were a sexy pick to start the year, to kind of be that next up and coming team. Then they start 1-2, everyone jumps off the bandwagon. But I mean, they seem to be rounding into a little form here.
Yeah, I believe they are. And let me apologize to all the Jags fans, because on the show last week, I was doing these highlights, and I said something like, "Shout out to the London Jaguars," and fans were like, "Whoa, wait a minute, Nick, come on!" And I'm like, "Relax. First, it's a joke. Secondly, y'all do play well in London. Like, let's just keep it real." But shout out to Duval. I know where you guys are, and I know how you represent. I do like Trevor Lawrence and who he's becoming as a quarterback. I just love the fact that you have these young guys who were praised and told that they were going to be the next it guy at the QB position, and some just can't handle that. Some have struggled tremendously. You look at Zach Wilson, for example. I don't mean to bring him up out of nowhere, but it's taken him a little bit longer. Now, Trevor Lawrence has had his bumps, and he's had coaches and drama, all of these things during his growth. But what we see now is a young veteran. Like, he's not at the veteran stage, but he's at the young veteran cusp, and he's playing like it. And the way that he's playing is a true representation of how this team is playing. Consistent, they take care of the ball, and they're hard-nosed. And that's always a recipe for success, especially when you have a good head coach.
We're going to go back. I like Travis. I think he's...
Oh, Etienne is a beast, man. Yeah. He is a beast.
I always want to do the French pronunciation of his last name, so I leave it out. I went, Etienne.
Etienne. Etienne. Yes, I'm gonna start saying it like that. Travis Etienne.
All right, Vikings beat the Niners Monday night. Another one of the team that drafted Nate Burleson 71st overall. The schedule eases up here. Next 6 games come against teams that are a combined 16 and 25. Is there a chance that this Vikings team could go on a little bit of a run here?
It's not over till it's over. I oh man, another moment of honesty. I thought to myself that this will be a huge statistical year for Justin Jefferson, and they would have immediate success, and they would win games. They pick up where they left off in the regular season last year. Then once they struggled, I didn't know what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it. So then I'm thinking, oh, this will be a big year for Justin Jefferson. The Vikings just won't win that many games, and they won't make the playoffs. Now I'm changing that, even with Justin Jefferson being banged up, for 2 reasons. One, they got the win, which all you need is to stack up a few wins before the halfway mark of the season. And then 2, Jordan Addison had a big game. And the football gods are cruel. They take one thing away, hoping that you can take advantage. And Justin Jefferson sitting out might be exactly what they needed for Addison to know who he is in this offense. And it's like history repeating itself, being a Minnesota Vikings player. I remember Randy Moss going down, and he caught me in the weight room. And he's like, "Hey, yo, what's up? Hey, Dummyson." And I'm like, "What's up, man? What's going on?" He's like, "Yo, I'm gonna be out with this hamstring." And I'm just like, "Okay, I know that. What are you talking about? We talked about it in the meeting room. It's all over the papers. Like, why are you telling me this?" That's what I'm thinking. That's not what I said, of course. And he's like, "Look, take advantage. I need you to get your rocks off. Catch as many balls, score as many touchdowns as you can." And I'm like, "Oh man, like that's sweet." You know what I mean? For OG, the vet, to look at me and tell me that. You must be really concerned about my career and my numbers. He paused for a second. He's like, "Because when I get back, every ball's coming to me." And I was like, say less, say less. And I love that. And I appreciated that so deeply from him, because he was very honest. He's like, "I will be out. Dante Culpepper is going to look for the hot hand, and this is your time to shine." This is how the league works. There is a little bit of a window of opportunity, and you have to take advantage. And that's what I did. And that was the season I put up 1,000 yards, and my confidence was through the roof. So when he got back on the field, I didn't just feel like this small complimentary piece. Like, I felt like Robin. I'm like, nah, like I might not have no superpowers, and my superhero leotard is a little weird, but I still can help you out. You know what I mean? I got some high kicks and some chops that I could do to help fight the bad guys. So that was the moment I feel like I grew, and I think this is the moment where Addison is going to grow. You add Justin Jefferson back healthy in this offense and a few wins under their belt. Now all of a sudden the Vikings, who they are exactly who they were a season ago.
What did he call you again?
Dummyson, because I used to make a lot of mistakes as a rookie, like every rookie did. Right. And I remember I was running this one route in particular where it's too high safety, and you're supposed to split the middle. I'm in the slot, so you're supposed to split the middle to get in between the two high safety. And for some reason, that concept just wasn't clicking over the couple of days we were learning it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just running up the seam, and I'm supposed to go to the wide open part of the middle of the field, and I jog it back to the huddle, and Brandy's like, "Hey, Dummyson, you gotta take the middle." So for the rest of camp, leading into the season, that was my nickname. Even though I proved that I was an intellectually sound player, he was like, "Hey, Dummyson," and that was my nickname for a long time. Hey, but listen, when Randy Moss gives you a nickname, you don't complain.
Yeah, that means you belong. Nickname means you belong. Yeah. I forget who said that. I'll look it up later. Maybe we'll put it on the screen right here. Buck O'Neill. I think it was Buck O'Neill.
Buck O'Neill.
Yeah. Nickname means
okay.
You belong.
Look at you.
I might be wrong, but I think it might be Buck O'Neill. All right, last one.
What's up?
Chiefs a quiet 6-1. Like, I feel there's no quiet anything in the National Football League. Like, as quiet as you can be 6-1 in the National Football League. I know that the Chargers pass defense is like legendarily bad. But Mahomes and company tore them apart. Like I was wondering about the offense a couple of weeks ago, the Swifties being like a distraction. But like I feel like they're the Warriors of like a few years back, or the Raptors in their championship year. Like there's some load management going on here, and they're just kind of stacking up wins, bring the young kids along, and then bam. And I don't know if that was the bam moment or like we're gonna wait, but I feel like they just kind of been laying in the weeds, and to lay in the weeds and still be 6-1 is like dangerous to everyone else.
Yeah, there's two teams that are dangerous, and I'll give you one from the AFC and the NFC. And I don't want people to say, "Oh, Nate, that's a hot take. Look at the two teams you named." But it is the Chiefs and it is the Eagles, and it's not for the reason you think. It's not because they're the most dangerous and they have just been dominant. Of course, they had moments where they look good, but the reason they're the most dangerous is because I truly do believe the Chiefs nor the Eagles have played their best football. Now, imagine that for a second. They haven't played their most consistent. I do feel like they're bringing the young guys along. They're trying to inject the culture into some players that weren't on these teams as they made their Super Bowl runs. But just getting back to the Chiefs specifically, you have Travis Kelce having one hell of a day, one hell of a season. And I don't care what you say about Taylor Swift and how many times they cut away to her at a game. It's working because Travis is winning on and off the field. My man is dating one of the most famous people ever to exist on this earth. He's playing great football, and my dude is in every single commercial, more commercials than MC Hammer in the 90s. So shout out to him. My dude's winning. And on top of that, him and his brother's podcast is fire.
Nice.
Like
Hot,
life is good for the Kelces. But I do feel like
is good.
Facts. But I just feel like, they brought in McCall Hardman, which is a familiar face in that system. Like they're just making these moves and they're just stacking quietly. It's like the friend that has a job and it's a good job. You remember that? Oh, like Calvin got a job. It's like, and then you see Calvin and he got a Benz, and you're like, damn, Calvin, I thought you was flipping burgers and working the fries. How you get a Benz, bro? And he got a chain around his neck and like fresh Louis shoes. I think that is the Chiefs. We're going to look at the end of the season and be like, wait, how many touchdowns does Travis have? Whoa. You're telling me Patrick Mahomes is close to breaking another record? Oh, this defense is one of the best defenses in the league. I truly do believe that. And we have to understand how good they really are.
Ooh, Calvin's got a job. that cut is so deep. We're gonna have to get the commercial from YouTube and interject.
Please.
It is.
And Dave Chappelle, remember Dave Chappelle did that skit? He did the whole Calvin got a job too.
I forgot Chappelle did that again. I just remember that commercial on like Saturdays, like nonstop. Yeah. It was always early. It was like they were doing it in cartoons and sports only. Last one for you. Any of these big names move, like Derrick Henry, Jerry Jeudy? I don't know if that's a big name anymore. Cortland Sutton's I've seen that name thrown out a couple of times. Yeah. Hunter Renfrow, Ryan Tannehill's name has been popped out there a little bit too. Do we see any of these moves, or is that too high?
I think it's going to be either Derrick or Ryan Tannehill. I would love to see Derrick in another uniform. Just because I like when guys that can go somewhere else, put on a different jersey, and still have a lot of football left, just like we saw with Christian McCaffrey. For those who said, I don't know if he still has it. My dude still got it. Cortland Sutton is a top tier wide receiver. So for anybody that's wondering, if we land Cortland Sutton, what type of guy? You're getting a legit receiver. Like, my guy can do it all. Jerry Jeudy, I believe he needs to go to the right system. He needs to go to a system that doesn't have a speedster, a guy that can take the top off the coverage, so he can immediately fill that role. And then once he fills out that role, carve out something for him within this offense, because I do feel like his speed and his ability to get open sometimes gets lost. I'm not saying he's been perfect. I'm just saying that they're not utilizing him as much as they could.
All right, I had too much fun. We've gone overtime here on this one.
It's all good, man.
So I owe you. We'll go see Calvin.
Go see Calvin.
I'll
get you a job.
I'll get you a McFlurry. And we
McFlurry. Is the McRib back?
Oh, I'm unaware if
I'm
might be
call
different
Calvin.
Okay, call.
I'm gonna call Calvin.
When you talk to him, let me know. We'll make good. We'll make good on it. Thank you for doing this. As always, great talking football with you, Mr. Nate Burleson.
All right, brother. Good to see you. I'll see you next week.